Death on the Nile is a 2022 mystery film directed by Kenneth Branagh from a screenplay by Michael Green, based on the 1937 novel of the same name by Agatha Christie. It was produced by Branagh, Ridley Scott, Judy Hoffland, and Kevin J. Walsh. The film is a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express, 2017, with Tom Bateman and Branagh returning from the first film as Bouc and Hercule Poirot, respectively. The film also stars Annette Bening, Russell Brand, Ali Faisal, Dawn French, Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer, Rose Leslie, Emma Mackey, Sophie Okonedo, Jennifer Saunders, and Letitia Wright. The film is the third screen adaptation of Christie's novel, following the 1978 film, and an episode of the television series Agatha Christie's Poirot broadcast in 2004. Principal photography began in September 2019, with filming taking place at Longcross Studios in England and on location in Morocco, completing that December. Death on the Nile was first released in several international markets on February 9, 2022, and in the United Kingdom and United States on February 11, following several delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The film received mixed reviews from critics, who perceived it as being inferior to the previous adaptations but appreciated its old-fashioned style. The film has grossed $75 million against a production budget of $90 million. Storyline. In World War I, a young Hercule Poirot successfully devises a strategy to advance his Belgian squadron. Unfortunately, his captain steps on a booby trap which also mutilates Poirot's face. He is tended to by his lover, Nurse Catherine, who encourages him to grow a mustache to hide his scars. In 1937, Poirot enters a club where jazz singer Salome Otterborn is performing. He witnesses Jacqueline Jackie de Bellaford introduce her fiancé Simon Doyle to her childhood friend, heiress Lynette Ridgway, hoping that Lynette will offer him employment. Lynette hires Simon on the spot, and sparks fly between the two. 6 weeks later, Poirot is vacationing in Egypt when he encounters his friend Bouc and Bouc's mother Euphemia, a renowned painter. Bouc introduces Poirot to his friends Lynette and Simon, who, in a surprise plot twist, have married, Simon apparently having broken off with Jackie, and are on their honeymoon. Others have joined the couple on the trip: Lynette's longtime maid Louise Burgett, Salome, Salome's niece and manager, and Lynette's old classmate Rosalie, Lynette's communist-leaning godmother Marie Van Schuyler, Van Schuyler's nurse Mrs. Bowers, Lynette's cousin Andrew Cachadaurian, who is in charge of Lynette's will, and Dr. Linus Windlesham, who had been engaged to Lynette before she left him for Simon. Lynette and Simon request protection from Poirot as Jackie has followed them to Egypt. She appears to be an obsessive stalker. Hoping to escape from Jackie, the group boards the cruise ship SS Karnak, though Lynette admits to Poirot that she does not trust any of the guests. During a stopover at Abu Simbel, Bouc confesses to Poirot that he is dating Rosalie. Poirot gives him his blessing, while Bouc encourages him to find love himself. Poirot starts showing interest towards Salome. After a land excursion, the guests return to the Karnak to discover Jackie has boarded, so Lynette and Simon tell Poirot they will go home the following morning. Poirot encounters Jackie, who is adamant about wanting Simon. Poirot confides that his lover Catherine died from a mortar explosion, and Poirot closed himself to romantic feelings. After Lynette goes to bed, Simon confronts Jackie, prompting her to shoot at his leg, then attempt to shoot herself. She is stopped by Rosalie, who knocks the gun to the floor and kicks it away. Bouc and Rosalie bring Jackie to be tended by Mrs. Bowers, while Windlesham tends to Simon's wound. The following morning, Louise discovers that Lynette has been shot in the head and that her valuable necklace has been stolen. Poirot, assisted by Simon and Bouc, begins interrogating the guests. Jackie is ruled out because she was monitored by Bowers throughout the night. Louise was supposed to leave Lynette's employment after getting married, but Lynette ended her engagement in order to keep her as a servant. Windlesham denies any jealousy towards Simon or ill will towards Lynette. Bowers was from a wealthy family but she and her workers were evicted from their lands due to the actions of Lynette's parents during the Great Depression. Poirot deduces that she is not Van Schuyler's nurse but her lover. Andrew, who possesses a gun, had been trying to make Lynette sign a contract that would have embezzled her. Salome also carries a gun and was insulted by Lynette years ago. Euphemia spots Lynette's necklace among her belongings and reports it to Poirot, who begins suspecting her as well. Jackie's gun, the murder weapon, is eventually found wrapped with Van Schuyler's missing scarf. It is missing 2 bullets. Poirot gathers Bouc, Euphemia, Salome, and Rosalie and reveals that he was hired by Euphemia to spy on Rosalie to assess her suitability as a partner for Bouc, explaining his presence in Egypt and at the club 6 weeks prior. Despite Poirot's approval, Euphemia withholds her blessing. Louise is then found dead with money in her pocket and her throat slit, evidently by Windleham's scalpel. Poirot sees the shape of a possible witness around blood splatter from Louise's murder. Poirot and Simon interrogate Bouc, who is bewildered that his friend suspects him. Poirot deduces that Bouc had found Lynette dead without telling anyone. He stole her jewel necklace to give himself and Rosalie financial freedom, but panicked when its absence was detected by Poirot and placed it in his mother's belongings, knowing her own riches would absolve her of the theft. He then witnessed Louise collecting money from the killer before she was also murdered and threw his coat in the river because it was coated in her blood. Before he can reveal the killer's identity, Bouc is shot through the throat from afar. Poirot fails to catch the killer in a chase, but discovers Andrew's abandoned gun. Motivated by his friend's death, Poirot and the crew of the Carnac lock the surviving guests in the boat's bar, having solved the murder. Poirot reveals that Simon is Lynette's killer, with Jackie as the mastermind. They are still lovers and arranged Simon's romance with Lynette so Simon would inherit her wealth once she was killed. Having pretended to shoot Simon with a blank, Jackie managed to distract Bouc and Rosalie, while Simon used paint stolen from Euphemia to fake his injury. He used the short amount of time provided by the distraction to kill Lynette, witnessed by Louise, and then shot himself in the leg while using Van Schuyler's scarf as a silencer before Windlesham arrived. Simon later disposed of the murder weapon. Jackie killed Louise and then Bouc. Engaged in a standoff with Poirot and Salome, Simon attempts to escape with Jackie, but Jackie, knowing there is no escape for them, shoots Simon through the back as they kiss and embrace, killing the 2 lovers. The passengers disembark. Salome admits that she had been interested in Poirot before he showed his cold personality in his work. 6 months later, a clean-shaven Poirot visits Salome's jazz club to watch her perform, alone in the dark. Did you know? The only 2 characters to appear in both this film and its predecessor are Poirot himself and his friend Bouc, Tom Bateman. Actually, Bouc does not appear in the novel Death on the Nile, but was added in place of a similar character from the book. This movie has been delayed several times. Originally set for 2019 release, it got delayed in filming so was pushed to 2020. Then due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic it got pushed around several times until being set for fall 2021. Then on April 3, 2021 it was announced to be delayed again to February 2022 due to the Armie Hammer accusations. This version of Poirot is implied to have been born much later than his literary counterpart, who was already a mature man in his 50s at the beginning of the 20th century. In this movie, Poirot is shown in the prologue as a young soldier in 1914, in his 20s early 30s at the most, making him at least 30 years younger than Book Poirot. Jacqueline's .22 caliber pistol is a heavily engraved Sharps 4-barrel pepper box of mid-1850s vintage. It features a rotating firing pin, rather than the rotating barrels of most other pepperbox pistols. While sitting and admiring the Sphinx, Poirot can be seen sitting by a table on which are 2 eggs in cups. This is likely a reference to Branagh's earlier Poirot film, Murder on the Orient Express, in which Poirot is struggling to find 2 eggs of the exact same size for breakfast. See you later. Thanks for the subscription.